Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up, an ultra running conversation. How are you doing, Mandy? Are you in the race van, the race van, packing up right now, or what? What's going on? You don't look like you're in your
I'm
the
in
beehive.
Camper van life is about to commence because I'll just show you what's on my coffee cup. I haven't seen what I can do on a 250-mile course yet. That's a Lululemon plug right there. We're in our season of yet.
Oh, you're even wearing the Lululemon shirt. Are you going to wear those Lululemon shoes this week as well?
I am. I think for some of the shorter sections, when I'm giving my Hoka a break, I actually trained with them for several of my 20-mile runs, and they felt really fantastic. So if anyone else is wearing Lululemon trail shoes and has a review, drop me a DM. I really liked them. I felt like they held up really well. Stability was good. Very similar to my Speedgoat. I felt like, they're differently made, obviously. Like you said yesterday, Brian, that's not a real shoe, I think is what you said.
That might have been the actual phrase I used, yes. But I'll be interested to see. Who knows? Maybe Lululemon will be the new Speedgoats. Who knows? Maybe it'll just take off in the market.
Yeah, when you're an ambassador, the job quite literally is to test out all the product and give feedback, and I'm doing that. I also have their vest, although it is way too small for the water requirements for most of the course, but I will test it out, I think, for some of those shorter sections just for fun. It's super cozy.
Oh, a gear running vest. I think you meant like a shell, like a vest shell, like a zip-up vest.
No.
Like a shell vest. I was like, how is it too small? But I see the pack, vest racing pack.
Yeah.
But you got your Ultraspire Zygos 6.0 in sky blue, baby blue, something like that. Yeah. How's that feeling? You got that thing loaded up?
Yeah. I've never run with Ultraspire. I've been a Solomon pack girl for so long. I've had the same pack forever. I really did like it. I've done several runs with it. I like that even with all the water, I've run with all the water a couple times. It feels good. It's comfy. It doesn't move around. I'm a sensory person. I don't know if you know that about me. I don't like noises. And so the sound of like wrappers or your pack or something rustling drives me bananas. So I was really nervous that was going to make a lot of noise, and it really doesn't make too much noise.
You know, this is 250 miles. We're talking about the Cocodona 250. We are, 3 or 4 days out right now, something like that. 4 days, I guess it would be, as recording this intro. But this is a huge step for you. This is like you've done 100 and now we're going up to 2.5 times that. How you feeling?
It's a lot. It's a big jump. I feel great. I have had a little bit of a hip mobility issue the last few weeks that we've been working on, and that feels really good right now. I just am not running. This week I'm doing a lot of cycling. I'm spending a lot of time in the sauna doing sauna workouts. I'm at a cycle sauna studio, and so that physical part I think will come together and feels good. I think my biggest, not fear, but just the unknown is I've gone through an overnight before at hundreds, but I've never done several overnights. So I think the physical plus the mental, but honestly, I think it's the mental that I'm most interested to see how that goes. So I'm just excited. I'm excited for the experience. I'm a little nervous about an overnight by myself without a pacer. That would be a new experience. Every time I've done 100, I have a pacer for the overnight section. So that'll just be new. And I'm excited for what that brings. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I really think that, I finished 3 200 plus miles. So I'm not this huge time veteran by any means, but 3, Moab twice and Cocodona once, where I'm wearing the hat currently, from 24. 2020. But where I'm going with it is that I really feel like these 200 plus milers are really like adventures or expeditions. You have to keep an eye on the clock and make sure you got some buffer behind you from the cutoffs essentially. But other than that, it's pretty chill. Doesn't feel like that high end race mode, these 30 hours, like that Leadville, hurrying up and getting to Twin Lakes before the cutoff and all those things. As long as you start out consistently moving forward, it can feel like a real expedition. I think even when I was at my worst at Cocodona, I still had I laid in the car and said, don't wake me up. I want to sleep as long as I can and hopefully reset my whole head into a different physical and mental space. I just needed to do that for myself at mile 90. So I had a long way to go still, but I had a 6-hour buffer. So I was even if I slept 2 hours, which I wound up doing, I still had so much time before the cutoff itself. So I didn't feel rushed or pressured by physical or the time cutoffs themselves, So just take it in
that's
stride. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of like, I think what I'm most excited about for me as an athlete, because I'm not super speedy. And I think the mental side is always what's pulled me through, just given like the high demand of my life. And I'm just constantly on the go, and there's so many demands all the time. So I'm hoping that taking away the stress of the crazy cutoffs that we have at Leadville, for example, gives me that time. And honestly, Brian, life has just been a lot this last couple of months, like a lot. I've had death. I've had just a lot of stress in my family and in my life. And quite honestly, this feels like a vacation. Like if I can get out there and like all I have to think about for those 4 or 5 days is just forward motion. We talked about this yesterday. Sleep, digestion, eating, proper gear, taking care of my feet, taking care of my mind. Like if that's it, that feels, I know it's going to be very challenging, but just to have like one singular mission. Like I'm not momming really, I'm not taking care of my kids. I'm not taking care of my friends, my family, my community. I'm not working. I'm not loading race trailers. I'm not marking a course. I'm not dealing with permits. Like I'm just out there to run. And I think that I'm assuming that resonates with so many of us, that this is our adventure. This is our fun. This is our vacation. And I'm just so excited to get going. Yeah.
I was 148 miles, something like that. It was a stage race though, so it wasn't all at one shot. And we did it in sections. But I remember on the last day, they asked me, they had a camera in my face, and they asked me like, what do you have to say? And I was like, I don't want it to end. Like, I just want to keep on running and like having this circus keep moving, right? Like this whole circus that was just this whole act. They made dinner for us. We made our own lunches after dinner. And then the next day we ate that lunch that we made for ourselves. And they just kept driving my gear to the next stop, and I was able to run. And we had it was really hot, so we didn't actually have actual campfires, but we had little powwows around a bunch of rocks in the ground, some evening talks and stuff like that. And so it was just a great experience, but it reminds me of this whole idea of just like a more singular action, being a little more focused and intentional on just a few things instead of all the chaos of our lives, our busy lives.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That gives me hope, because that's what I'm hoping for. And I'm excited to see Stephanie out there.
That's right. Stephanie Rosebaugh is also going to be at the Cocodona 250 for her second go round. She did it in 2024, the same year I was there. I did not see her. I didn't know her either at the time, but I did not see her because she was 35 hours ahead of me. I think I did 105 hours. I wound up putting it back together after my 2-hour nap at mile 90, and finished fairly strong, or had fun, enjoyed the rest of my time there. But she was like 70 hours or something like that. So she was moving. She's a trucker. She's just scooting along that trail. And she lives right there on the course. Maybe a little advantage that way. I was brand new to the course and kind of sightseeing and enjoying all the sights and sounds of Arizona.
Yeah, and she was in her backyard. And actually, you are both in one of the most recent documentaries put out. I don't know if you've watched it. Gosh, there's so many Cocodona documentaries, and now it's all just getting mixed up, but I'll send it to you. But you're both in the documentary. You kind of go back and forth. And I was watching it a few nights ago and was like, I bet you two don't even realize that you're both in this. I think you're being interviewed out there, and she was
climbing. I think I'm climbing Eldon.
Yes. Yeah. So what year was that?
And that, so it's such a small world, and I don't want to get totally lost in this intro, but do you remember our USCA conference, the last one we just did, or which is now like 2 years ago, I guess, but where we met essentially, like in person. But there was a videographer by the name of Tony, who's really good friends with Coop, and they raced the 10K. I think they raced the 10K. I can't remember what race they did, but remember?
Colorado Springs 5K.
It was either 5K or 10K. I know they didn't do the half marathon.
They didn't do that.
But they did one of the shorter races, and Coop did win. He beat Tony. But Tony is the guy behind the camera on Mount Eldon. And that's how I knew him at USCA. He was the guy interviewing us running backwards at Eldon on that documentary that you're referring to.
That's pretty funny. Tony also took a picture of me at the top of Leadville, like when it was snowing and blowing snow. And I ran into him somewhere else, I think. And he was like, you look really familiar. I've taken a photo of you, and we connected the dots that way. So small world. Small
community. Yeah, so small that we did run into Stephanie. You guys have interacted quite a bit that we talk about in the episode, so I don't want to spoil it. But I met her briefly, but I really know her husband, Kyle, a little bit more because he was crewing for Stephanie at the last man standing at across the years. So just a great episode. She's fairly new to the sport, but man, she comes in with such a positive attitude, and there's so many little nuggets in here of information. So hope you get a chance to listen to this episode before your next race so you can get yourself in the right mind frame. She brings a lot of great information to this episode.
See y'all soon.
Have a great trip, Mandy. We'll be rooting for you. I already received a bunch of messages that people are going to be watching your tracker.
Okay, no pressure.
No pressure.
Miles of dust beneath your feet, another sunrise you will meet. Pushing past the weary climb, leaving doubts and fears behind. Hear the trail call out your name, ignite that inner hopeful flame. For the journey and the view, and that shiny buckle too. Buckle up, let's start the show.
Stephanie Rosebaugh, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to sit down and chat with Mandy and I. You guys have a history. You guys have all met before. I think I briefly met you at Across the Years, but you were in the middle of a race, and so I think I actually spent more time with your husband and your kids than you.
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
Sounds about right.
You guys, just to catch everyone up to speed, most recently you guys have all been hanging out, I want to say, like air quotes, hanging out at Across the Years, last person standing formatted events. And you guys have really kind of created these family bonds. Let's hear all about it.
Yeah. So I think the first year that we met was in 2024 on New Year's Eve. And I was like so nervous going into the Across the Years because I didn't know what my kids were going to do the whole time. And because I was going to be running around in circles, and my husband was there with me and was like, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out. And then our Mandy and her kids and her husband were there, and they just clicked. And one of the other runners had kids as well that year, and they were there, so they just ran around the whole time together. And so that was in 2024 to 2025. And then this last year, they exchanged numbers before we left, and they kept in contact throughout the whole year, like just randomly. And so this year when we came back, they all kind of reconnected.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. They still talk. I think they've been talking as we're getting ready to go to Arizona about us going and being in the same race this year. But it's been pretty fun to have that, and so important for us as moms and parents to race, for our kids to be able to come alongside and make friendships out there on the race course and really be kind of just literally living in the wild for a couple of days. So we definitely, like, having those bonds and those friendships form through this is such a key piece of success, because if our kids were miserable and hated it, or we couldn't find ways to entertain them, it wouldn't go as smooth, right, Stephanie? You know that too, Brian.
Yes. Yes. So now, like, they plan to be at Across the Years every year. They're like, I don't care if you sign up for anything, but we're going to be there. Because they just want to reconnect with their friends that are going to be there. It's really sweet.
We've had some great success. We have some great success there at Across the Years, and we'll get to that. But I think I want to back up and start at the beginning of your sporting journey and how you found yourself at Across the Years and towing the line for your second, I believe, Cocodona 250.
Yes. Yeah. So, I'm pretty new into ultra running. I've always loved to like work out and exercise, but it's always kind of transformed. And, whether it's been, bodybuilding in my 20s or doing CrossFit. And then I was always like running on the side just for fun. And one of my friends in 2023 needed a pacer for Cocodona. And I was like, ooh, that sounds like fun. I'm not really a trail runner, but running's running. And so I set out to pace him from Friendly Pines to Jerome. And I showed up, and I just remember showing up and him like not being in the best headspace, wanting to quit, and the crew and I just kind of convinced him to just go one more aid station. And then after that one more aid station, we just kept going. And while I was out there, I was like, this is incredible. This is what life is all about. It's being with your friends. It's telling stories. It's getting super, super vulnerable and just having fun being out in nature together. And that's what we did. And as soon as I got to Jerome, I was like, I need to see the rest of this course. And so that's what initially really spun me into ultra running.
Gosh, if I was having a bad moment out on the trail, you might be just the right person knowing your profession. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So I am a marriage and family therapist, and my husband and I have been in private practice together since 2015, and we've been practicing since 2010. So it's incredible because I think a lot of what ultra running is about 80% mental, 20% fitness. And I even, with my profession, have to spend a lot of time with my thoughts, a lot of time prepping my mind to going into any of these bigger races of how to keep going when things get really tough.
That's awesome. I guess I shared with your husband, but you were out running laps over the new year this past year. But I am in ASU's sports and performance psychology program currently.
Oh, nice.
So I'm pursuing those interests as well. And I just did a chapter on family counseling. Is one of my final tests.
Yes.
For this particular semester. But you paced at 2023 and then you finished in 2024. So you went straight to the top, right? I mean, you just went through the 50K, 100K, and you showed up at Cocodona a year later and finished it. And actually, like, a super impressive time. I think it was 70 hours, if I'm not mistaken, which is, yeah. I was there and I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
And I was 35 hours behind you.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So, when I said I wanted to see the full course, I didn't know how that was going to really actually happen. I went to my friend's, thank you to his crew dinner for Cocodona, and we were barbecuing and hanging out. And he's like, Steph, did you know today the charity bibs opened? He's like, you could just throw your name in for one. And I was like, that sounds awesome. So I was thinking it's like a really big lottery. There's no way I'm going to get one. I didn't ask permission. I didn't talk it over with my husband. I just signed up. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. And so
marriage tip.
Yeah. Marriage counseling tips.
Yeah,
marriage
as
counseling
a marriage
tips.
counselor, I still really make big mistakes. So I, anyways, put my name in there and was thinking it's probably going to take weeks to find out if I got one of these. No, I got an email within 5 minutes, and I was like, oh no, what did I just do? And so then I had to explain to my husband what I had signed up for. Not only that I was going to have to train and get ready for this race, but that I was going to also have to raise money for a nonprofit of my choice. And at that time, I chose Bigger Than the Trail, which also aligns a lot with what I do for a living. Is they provide scholarships across the United States for people that get mental health counseling. And so,
yeah, that's such a great segue because we had Tommy Byrne on the show, and I was a Better Than the Trail ambassador for 5 or 6 years or so.
Yeah, yeah, he's a really, really great guy, and it actually ended up being a really close partnership after I did that first charity bib. He partnered with our practice in Prescott, so that we could provide some of those scholarships right here. And so this year, I'm going to jump forward now, but I also am doing a charity bib running for Bigger Than the Trail with Cocodona.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Nice. And where are you at with that fundraising this year, Steph?
I I didn't check it yet this morning, but I think I have $300 to meet my goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're listening, check out her profile.
Yeah.
Is there a deadline, or do you have like a certain deadline you need to get the funds in? Because this show will come out hopefully just before the start of Cocodona.
Yeah. So they have kept it open. They typically say like 5 days before the race, they cut it off. And so hopefully, if the timing is right, that if you want to donate, the link is still open.
Okay, great. Maybe you could share that with me offline, and I'll put it in the show notes.
Absolutely.
As well. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. Stephanie, you showed up 2024. You ran the Cocodona 250. Great race. You wanted to get out. It was all the things you wanted. I don't know this, but from the first year when you paced, you got to see the whole course. And I didn't know you lived in Prescott, so you ran right through your neighborhood or through your town.
Yeah.
And but I kind of want to shift just for a second here, because you've really kind of taken off on this tangent, I'd call it, onto the last person standing format, which isn't really like sightseeing and eating lots of snacks and hanging out at the aid stations. It's really kind of a bit more intense and very repetitive, and maybe not so much sightseeing after the first maybe 6 hours. I don't know. Like how did you get into that?
So my first experience with the kind of loop format was doing Across the Years in 2024. And I literally just thought like, hey, I've never done anything like this before. We don't really have any New Year's Eve plans. Like, let's give it a try. And so that's how I showed up there. And I got to tell you, the Across the Years with the 20-minute format is after now doing like a traditional backyard it's really hard to be able to do that 1.42 miles and then reset, get all your stuff done, and get back to the corral. And so was my first experience with it. And I think the parts that I love about it is it's really meditative, because you're not going to get lost. Yeah, you don't get to hang out at the aid stations, but you also get to know everybody out there if you want to. Because I think the unique thing about Across the Years is there's so many other people out on the course running different races at the same time. And so you get to, chat with them, cheer them on, and encourage one another to keep going.
Yeah, from there, then you just kind of continue dabbling in that format. And would you say after doing that, like you did Babbitt's, are you more intrigued to go back to the traditional format, or do you like the extra challenge of the 1.4 20 minutes on concrete?
I think I'm not giving up on the 1.42 miles, that loop format. I think each year it seems like I get to learn a little bit more about how to do it differently or better. And so, yes, I like both. But I'm not just sold on doing one format forever. Like, whatever my running career is, I want to be able to explore other places. Because I do think, love places like, exploring Cocodona and being able to go point to point. They're all unique in their own way. And the thing that I love about them is you get to show up and yes, you get to meet a lot of really, really cool people, and you get to learn so much about yourself and just how to continue to improve and perform moving forward.
Yeah, Babbitt. Which one was it that you did just a ton of miles in? I'm looking it up right now.
It was the Summit.
150?
The Summit Trail Racing. Yes. Yeah. In Marble Falls, Texas.
Yes.
In just a few months ago in November, it was right around Thanksgiving of 25.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you did 280 miles. That's a lot. I don't even know how many hours that is. So it's 100. So it's
67.
2 3/4 days. 67 hours. Mm-hmm. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
You're a glutton for it, huh?
Yeah. And so I had done my first traditional backyard in September, and that was Babbitt's in Flagstaff. And I had fun. But I also didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of showed up and, it was like, well, I did across the years. Maybe this will be something like it. And it was not, it was different. And then, I chose to try one more time because the thing about the backyards that I have chosen is these silver ticket races. And if you're not familiar with what silver tickets are, is it gets you into the USA backyard team, and it gets you to Bigs. And so Bigs is one of those bucket list items that I have that I would love to get to, and I would love to be on the USA team. So those are kind of the reason why I've chosen the backyards that I have. And at the one in Texas, I showed up by myself. My family couldn't come with. And my in-laws actually live in Austin, which is right outside of Marble Falls. And they had never had any experience with backyards or any ultras. But they were like, we'll come watch you or something. And I was like, cool. That'd be awesome to have you out there. But I just kind of showed up thinking that I was going to have to do it on my own. And they ended up coming and falling in love with being there and helping me out. And so they stayed from the initial start to when I finished. And they just rotated out to be supportive and helpful. And they did just a miraculous job.
That's a pretty risky move there, Steph. The Thanksgivings and Christmases, we're going to go one way or the other. You could have just wrecked their whole experience. And then this lady's crazy. Yeah. We're never coming back. She threw up on our shoes. Or
she's a family, Mandy, she's a family therapist. She was going to fix it. She was going to fix it all.
She knew what she was doing. And so on that note, Steph, I wonder, did they see a different side of you? And that's a two-sided question. And do you have an alter ego that you turn into at these events?
So I typically have a plan for what personality is going to show up at different sections of a race. Not that I have multiple personalities, but I it's this mental switch that has to go on of, okay, at some point I'm going to get tired. At some point I'm not going to want to eat anymore. And I just have to put on a different persona of who and what I want to be in this very moment. And so at that race, I had done a lot of little mantras of, hey, night running has always not been my favorite because I like to go to bed early and I like to be snuggly and warm, and out there you're not snuggly and warm. So it's okay. I know what I like as far as comfort goes, but how do I choose the discomfort and who I want to be in the discomfort? And so with that specific race, I taught myself how to own the night, and I just tricked my brain into loving the nighttime. Of instead of it being this daunting thing that was going to come and where I was going to struggle, it was where I was going to come alive. And just that practicing that mantra over and over again, that's exactly what played out. And I had fun with it. And then, I think at these races, you also, if you choose something positive, it leaks out onto other people. And that's what I also love is if somebody else is stuck, I don't want them to be stuck in negativity. It's I want them to be able to come out and also have a good time.
I love that. That's great. I'm taking notes. Come up with the mantra and who what's the Mandy that shows up when she's mad that there's a second night and a third night and a fourth night.
Well, and then it also is prepping your crew for that too, right? Because there are points where you come into these aid stations, or I would come back into the corral and I was not feeling it. And prepping them for how do I want you to show up when I'm crabby? Because, and then whatever comes out of me, don't ever take it personally. If I haven't slept in 67 hours, anything that I say, you can just negate, because it's really coming from a tired place, not an honest place. And then my other strategy is like, if I'm cranky, just give me a snack, give me a nap, let me cry it out like a toddler, and just push me back out, and I'll be just fine.
Stephanie, I have a quick story about
Yes.
that. That's just like one of my favorite ultra running stories, and you're the star of it. So it was this year at Across the Years, and we're in the tent. You came in. I don't even know what mile you're at. It was after Nick had dropped, so we're after 156 miles, I guess. So somewhere in that realm. And so now I was helping your family with you, and you come in and you sit down and you have this look on your face like you have something really serious to tell your husband. And you're like, listen, and we're all listening. So I'm like, how can I help? What can I get you? And you're like, this song that is playing on my iPod or my phone, it won't change. And I mean, you drew out your words for so long, and it was so great. And I'm laughing, and Brian's just like, yep, okay, yep, just receiving all of it. And you're like going on and on and on about like, I don't know why it won't change. I don't know why it's on here. And I was laughing so hard internally. And so we get you taken care of. And after you left, I was like, that was like marriage magic that I just watched right there, because he wasn't offended by what you were saying. He didn't look at you like you were a crazy person.
Yeah.
He just let you have your feelings, and he changed the song. And then you went on and you came back a new person after that next lap. So it was, I think that's why I asked you, because I've been able to watch you in that tent, even just 2 races, like go into this zone that is so inspiring. And to be able to get yourself, in and out of those, recognizing what seems like what you're going through, and watching you go out of it. So I think you've got a true talent there, and it's really evident that your mind is doing some magical work in there. So
well, thank you.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Stephanie, I got it. We talked about it with a former guest just a few weeks ago with Mia Dietmar, and we talked about the format itself, right? And like when you are struggling, of course, you're like the whole adage of like a rising tide raises all ships, and like you guys are stronger together when you guys bond, and you're pushing each other to new limits, but also there's a race at hand, right? And like you're trying not to suffer too well, you're trying to suffer well enough to let the others think that you're still okay and you're still doing okay. So how do you micromanage when you're struggling in the event? Are you trying to keep it from the other participants? Are you just letting it out and being raw with it? What does that look like for you?
I think every race is a little different, depending on what the energy is of the people around you. I think the first time that I did Across the Years, like with Nick and with Wes, it was like we were all just super real with each other, and we were all in it to keep each other going. And like Tyler was a part of that process too, of like, just, we're going to be real, but that doesn't mean I'm going to, like, it's one thing to speak it out. It's another thing to let whatever you're speaking out take over. And so for me, a phrase that I like to use a lot is like, if I can just name it, I can tame it. Meaning like, if I just say I'm really stinking tired, okay, I said it. It doesn't mean I have to lean all the way into it. I can just let it be just that and pass through. I think when we try to lie to ourselves about what's actually going on, we start to like really deceive ourselves into something that isn't real. And it doesn't line up with being authentic. And so I always lean more on the side of like, you just got to name it so you can tame it so you can move on, but not get stuck in it.
That's great. I love it. There's just so many little tidbits you're just dropping for us, just knowledge, little knowledge nuggets, right? Little knowledge nuggets. It's great.
Yeah.
Mandy's taking notes, I hope, because she's got a long week ahead of her coming up.
I can't
you both
wait.
do.
Yeah, no, I think it's this place of like, I always want to help another runner out too, because yes, you're in competition with them, but it's like, I think especially in the ultra running community, I've always found that it's super friendly. and we're here to support one another. And I want to see people get to their PRs. I want, especially in that backyard format, some people come into those races not trying to be the last person standing, but they want to run their first marathon. They want to get to their first 100 miles. Like, if I can help you get there, yes, I'm there for you. And I also think it's like, but not forgetting what my goals are in the process of that.
That's great. I love it. We got Cocodona on the horizon. You were there in 2024, which was a nice year. Last year was the sloppy, wet year that we both sat out, apparently. And this year you're going back. Do you have any different goals going into this year's race, having experienced the full course? And what might that look like?
Yeah. So I think, the more familiar I get with ultra running, the one trap that I can get really caught in is watching what everybody else is doing, comparing myself to other people, like seeing what their training looks like. And that can be a really sticky area for me versus me just running my own race, me doing what I know that I am capable of, and just really leaning into like what my strengths and abilities are versus what somebody else's are. So this year, I think through the training for Cocodona, I've been like, oh, shoot, I'm not doing that. Oh, I should be doing this. And really pulling myself back to, no, you just need to do what you know works for you. And so I would say that to anybody. Like, don't look at what's working for Mandy. Like, do what's working for you. And because nobody knows your body better than you do. And so that's the other piece of, this race, I'm going to run my own race. And no matter what the outcome is, like, yes, I have outcome goals, but what's way more important than however I place or what time I get is that I believe that I put my best foot forward, and that regardless of the outcome, that I'm living from a place of enoughness, that I don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Yeah, beautifully said. I think that's such an important reminder in the sport that we continue just to make sure is an inclusive space for all, and that, yes, we're championing and in awe of people that are finishing, at the front and getting faster year after year. But there's also a place for just, running our own race and being supportive out there. And I know I'm excited to go out there and experience what that's like for multiple days. I've never done anything more than 30 hours. Yeah. So that's like a whole new experience for me. But I would imagine that this course is going to be full of that, of people just supporting others along the way, understanding that like this is such a new limit for most people out there, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think that's, the Cocodona course is beautiful. Every part of every section has something very unique about it. And, I think if things get tough inside or in your body, like, just look outside. Because whether it's nighttime, whether it's daytime, you're bound to be just blown away by something you can see.
You're local to the area, apparently. You live in Prescott, and you're fairly close to the course. Does it run near your residence? The course itself?
Yeah, our house is like 2 miles off course. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not close enough, because I do remember coming into Prescott, and into a cul-de-sac, and there was like these families set up with tables, and the sprinkler was on. It was only like 10 a.m., so it wasn't like that hot just yet. But I appreciated them being there. They had ice pops and all the treats for us, and they were like an unsanctioned aid station and really just a cheerleading squad. So the community was super supportive. I don't know if you were part of that, but you are local to Arizona and that course. What for Mandy? What is one of the highlights of the course for you that you could share with Mandy?
A highlight?
Like a feature. Like, what town do you like passing through on the course itself?
Oh gosh, like, I definitely don't have a favorite spot because I love each spot for its own uniqueness. I think, you know, when I get to run through Whiskey Row, that's really fun for me because it's home. And we literally like run past our office to go to the aid station. So that's really fun. And then I think going into Sedona, Sedona just is so unique, and the beautiful rocks and the sun and just the people. Everywhere you go, I feel like you just encounter some really amazing, incredible people. And then there's nothing like running into Heritage Square. I think even during like one of the training runs that I did for Cocodona, we ran like the finish, and the amount of emotion that I felt I couldn't even believe it. Like, because I wasn't even running a race. I was just training, and I was like weeping just because of the memories that are tied to that square. And so it's a cool, unique finish because you're in downtown. There's lots of people, and it's such a celebration.
That's great. I can relate to the Heritage Square sensation. I've been back to Heritage Square outside of the event and just walk down what every other day of the year or every other week of the year looks like a random alley.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, you're right. It is right there at the top of my emotional level.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the highlights for me is the Dells. I did pass through. I felt like 1,000 degrees, but it was still beautiful with the water and this weird slick rock scenery going on. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon. It was cooking and it was baking, and there was no one else out there because they decided to rest and wait it out the heat.
Yeah.
But I did not do that.
What mile is that, Brian?
Gosh, I think it's right after Whiskey Row, if I'm not mistaken. So
it's like 80,
not maybe 100.
Yeah, it's before 100. It's like 85, maybe. It's right after Watson Lake. After you come through Watson Lake, you'll go right into the Dells.
Okay. Well, you made me tear up just describing that, because I think seeing new sights and like just literally being somewhere that you never would go without an event like this is so much for the reason like why I run, and I'm just so excited. And I think the nerves are high, and I'm like just ready to get going. So thank you for the description.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And, I think I could share all my highlights with you for the whole course, and you're still going to have your own. And
right.
I think just being willing and flexible is the biggest thing I've learned from this sport, is like, you can have the best of a plan, but to be willing and flexible to just see what else is out there, and maybe something outside of your plan that's going to just blow your mind away.
A random fun fact, maybe it's not so random, but a fun fact I saw on your social media pages is that you're also an author. What type of book did you publish or have published?
Yes, so I wrote my first book. It is a memoir of my life, and it comes out this summer. You can pre-order right now, but so it comes up this summer. It's called The Power of Enoughness, and really the idea is moving away from the pressure to perform, to be loved or accepted, and to really come to a place where we are just operating out of our own uniqueness and our own talents and showing up just as we are created. And that being enough.
That's awesome. I'm really excited for that. I just assumed that it was already out. It was like an older book, or not an older book, but a book that has already been released. Yes. So I think I caught on to something new. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that new.
Yes.
I think I pre-ordered mine already.
Yes.
You should get yours, Brian.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I would love that.
I have to be honest. Do you have an audible version of it? Do you have an audio version of it? Because I have to be honest. I have enough school books to read for a lifetime that I'm really listening to my personal books on Audible right now.
Yes, I hear that all the time. So yes, there will be an Audible version. It's going to come out after the paper copy, though. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, that sounds awesome. Where can we look that up as well? I'll put that in the show notes.
I can send you the link after probably August, it'll be available like on Amazon. But if you want a signed personal copy before it is released on Amazon, you can, I can provide the link and people can go there and get theirs.
That sounds great. What is, gosh, I mean, you got like a 250-mile journey coming up in the next week, so it's really hard to say like what's next. But really, like, what does the rest of the year look like for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
what, like, do you have more last person standing events on the calendar? Are you chomping at the bit for something else? Because I've seen you've done the other 200s, like through Destination Trails. You've done like Tahoe and Bigfoot, I believe. Do you have other low-hanging fruit that you really want to grab onto after this long week you have coming up with Cocodona?
So really what I'm going to focus on is like why I have nothing else signed up for is I really just wanted Cocodona to be my focus and not have to think about what's after it. The other thing that I really am still going after is that place on the USA backyard team and a place at Biggs. And so just a couple weeks ago, I received an invitation to be put on the waiting list. So that's really exciting. And so really that's the next thing. If I get taken off the waiting list that I would be training for. And then I think through this training process, the one thing that always kind of goes through my mind is like, I just want to wake up and have pancakes with my kids on Saturday. I don't want to have to get up and think about like, okay, now I have to go do a 6-hour run. I think our family is going to benefit from just like me getting to be mom again for a little while and not have the next thing that I have to go run for.
Totally relatable. I am currently in a boot on my right foot. I had surgery a few weeks ago, but I've been home like a lot, like, and not running and not doing those things and picking up all these chores and things that I've kind of like neglected because I'm always out there training. So, I feel that I hear you in that presence. Yeah.
And I think it's all about balance, right? Like I definitely am not going to give up racing, but I know that our family right now could just use a normal rhythm, and running not being part of that normal rhythm in the same capacity that it has been. So I really want to be able to return to some of those sweet moments that I can have with my boys because kids grow up really fast.
Yeah, speaking of kids, I think they were texting a couple nights ago. So what's the plan for the family and your crew and pacers out at Cocodona? Who can we see along your side?
Yeah, so I am, the first time I'll see crew is at Whiskey Row, and that's where I'll pick up my first pacer. The kids are going to go to school Monday and Tuesday, and then from Wednesday on, they'll be with Kyle, because Kyle's going to be the main crew. And then just pacers through all the pacing sections. And I think this year what's unique is doing those few sections without a pacer later on in the race. That wasn't there in 2024, so it'll just be a new kind of adventure.
Yeah, and I think Eldon changed too a little bit, right? Don't you go up the other side of Eldon and come down what we went up in 24? Is that that chunky, big chunky rocks and roots coming down this time as opposed to what we went up Eldon?
Yes. And I did pace last year in Cocodona, and that's the way they went up. So I am a little familiar with it. But it's definitely has its own uniqueness and punch right there at the end.
Yeah, I think going up is a little bit easier, quite honestly. It's a little bit longer of a traverse, and the trail is nice and improved. I've been up it in the summer months. But gosh, going down that chunky section is going to be kind of challenging after 245 miles or whatever it is.
Yep. Yeah, it has, I mean, it's just the uniqueness of it, right? There's a little bit less running at that coming down and more just trying to stay upright.
That's the goal for Cocodona. Let's just stay upright.
Yes. Yeah. And the ability to just keep moving forward at some sort of rate.
Yeah.
Stephanie, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day. We want to be mindful of your time, but I do have one last question that we've been kind of plugging along at our guests in the last couple shows, and there's no exception here. So, you have a billboard at the end of Prescott, and it says like leaving Prescott, and all those things. And we're offering you a billboard to your community, and it can have your message. And what is that message that you're trying to send out to your community?
Yeah, that's so good. I think if I could leave our community with anything is, that no matter what we're going through in life, it's going to test us, it's going to strip us down, and it's going to really show us what's real. But it doesn't have to define you. It can be sort of a revealing of you. And I would just encourage people to keep choosing it over and over again. Whatever that revelation is, because you're capable of way more than you think you are, and you're worthy right exactly where you are. So whether it's that finish line you're chasing or a buckle, or you're just trying to get out the door, I think everybody's part of something bigger, and they're not alone in it. So they don't have to keep proving anything. They just got to keep showing up.
Beautiful. Well said.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. That's a great message. We should just wrap it up with that because it's just perfect. But where can we find you on the social handles? Where can we follow along? Obviously, Cocodona has a live feed, so we can follow along from there. But on your social pages, where could others reach out to you at?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram. It's Steph's Runspiration, and that's also linked to my Facebook and other things. So if people want to check that out, that'd be great.
Well, to the both of you ladies, I wish you the best of success this week. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, enjoy the highs and the lows, because you guys paid for it.
Sure did. Stephanie, I can't wait for a big hug on Sunday, so I will see you in Arizona.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing and inspiring all of us. It's an honor to have met you and really just watch your journey, and can't wait to see what this race holds for you.
Yes, I'm so excited to see you and your family, and hopefully we'll get to share some miles along the way.
For sure. Chat soon, friends.
Okay.